guys, now we're going to make some granola bars. So basically what we do here is we're going to blend up some dates, and that's going to be the binding agent to stick all of our nuts and seeds and oats together. If you want to make this gluten-free, just use a gluten-free oat like quinoa flakes. So I've got peanuts, cashews, walnuts, peanut butter, which is also going to help it make it sticky. I've got cinnamon to make it flavorsome, maple syrup for some sweetness, pita seeds, sunflower seeds, and some toasted coconut dates, and vanilla essence. So I put the dates to soak in some water because they were dried dates. This is going to help soften them up and make them easier to blend to create our stickiness. If you buy mid-jewel dates, those are going to be really fresh and moist and juicy. Those are perfect. You don't need to soak those. All right, so let's get started. First, we're going to toast up our oats and any of our nuts. So as always, we want to either toast or soak our nuts and seeds before we consume them. So we'll just do a little toasting of the oats and the nuts together. We'll do 1.5 cups of oats, 1 cup of chopped nuts. Got a nice assortment of nuts here. Bring them all over and give them a good chop before we toast them. We're going to put the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius. You just want to watch it. So probably just 10 to 15 minutes in the oven or until just light golden. Good little chop, and then we'll just put them into the pan. Half sunflower seeds and half pepitas. Sprinkle those little guys in. Give it a nice little shake. Just evenly disperse that so it all gets a good little toasting for about 10 to 15 minutes or until light brown. Now we are going to blend up our dates into almost like a dough-like consistency until there's just very small bits left. But first I'm going to drain out this water that they've been soaking in. So you can use a blender as well for this. Food processor works great. You could even chop these up by hand. Really all can be done just with a knife. And I might give my oats and nuts just a little shake just to move it all around a bit so everybody has an equal chance to get toasted. Yeah! Woo, what's up? Alright, a bit more blending. Cool, so that should be good. Nice and doughy. So now we're going to put this into a bowl. Dates I find are quite sweet. It's a great ingredient. If you find them too sweet, just use less and maybe use figs or don't put any maple syrup in. So we'll set that over here and come back to that. My little toasted mix has been in there for about 12 minutes, so I'll just pull it out of the oven, add it to the bowl of dates. I'll use 2 of these guys. Perfect. We'll let that pan cool there. Coconut flakes in the mix. And next, we will make the rest of our stickiness, the other bindings. I need a little saucepan on the stove. So we'll want 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Yum. 1 teaspoon of organic vanilla extract. 1/4 cup of peanut butter. 1/4 cup of maple syrup. If you don't want them too sweet, use coconut oil instead. Alright, and we'll get this on the stove on very low heat. We just want it all to melt. So for the pan that you use, 8 by 8 inch cake pan is the best size for this proportion. If you have a larger pan, double the recipe. These proportions are for a smaller cake pan, but you may know that I use my cake pan for chocolate. It's getting all melty. That's nice and gooey, so we'll add this to our toasted oats and dates and nuts. We'll just work this all together so that it all gets nice and blended. You can use your hands, you can use a fork, whatever works best for you. And this is all now nice and sticky, clumpy. And yes, it was a large arm workout. It's good for the guns. And now we'll press this into our pan. Then we're gonna let it set in the fridge or the freezer for about 20 to 40 minutes. And we'll press this down. And really the key for these is you wanna compress it really tight so that they stay together. Press them loose, they'll fall apart. And then it'll just be kind of granola, which is still delicious. One way to press them down is to find a flat surface that you can put your weight into. And finishing it off with your hands if you need to. Our granola bars have set in the fridge, so now we will slice them into the bar shapes, just using my spatula for the first little bit. And then we'll put them into a airtight container and store them in the fridge. It looks like they're holding their shape pretty well, which is great. Cut them into little squares and straight into our glass container. And always make sure you hand out a sample. Yay, granola bars!